about 8 to 10 firms. Okay, so that is how you can really keep your error low. The more firms you have, the lower will be your standard error. Okay. So these are the companies. These are the stock prices. Always take the stock price for all your comparables. Take them on the same day. Okay, so that they all match. So don't take so that they're affected by the same factors. The only difference in their stock prices should be because of new information for those different stocks, not any macro change. Okay, so take them on the same day. This is the number of shares outstanding for each of these firms. And so the market value of equity would be the number of shares outstanding multiplied by the current stock price. Okay, so we do that for every firm. That will give us the market value of equity. Market value of debt, once again, either from company's 10K, or if you can find the value of the current price of the company's bond, you can take it from there. But if not, just take the number directly from company's 10K. So that's your debt. Next, cash and marketable securities. Okay, so these will include the company's cash on hand. This is also from its 10K, company's cash on hand. And any marketable securities like short-term securities like T-bills or commercial paper or CDs that can be easily converted into cash. Okay? Anything that is easily converted into cash. And I'll tell you in a sec why we do that. Okay? So anything that's easily converted into cash. Compute the total firm value, once again, as for the main company, the value of equity plus the value of debt. Okay? Once we compute the total firm value, take the total sum here, okay? The sum of the value, because we want to compute the weighted average eventually. So that's why we take we add up the total value and then compute how much each firm is contributing to this total. Okay? So if I click on this, you see what we're doing is simply taking each number, this number divided by this number, then this number divided by this number, this number divided by this number. So how much is each firm contributing toward the portfolio? So think of it as a stock portfolio, right? So how much is each contributing toward the portfolio? And after you do that, remember, if we add it up, this is just as a check I did, add it up, and it should all add up to 100%, just as a check. Next column, we take the debt equity ratio. Once again, whatever is the market value of the debt divided by the market value of equity is the debt equity ratio. And now see, here are the levered betas. These betas I computed by doing a regression by running a regression for each of these firms. Okay? So download the stock prices for just the way we did for the main company. Okay? Do the exact same thing using the exact same time period. Okay? Download the stock prices, run the regression, and get the beta. Okay? So as long as the companies carry debt, this will be their levered beta. Okay? So these are the levered betas. Once we get the levered betas, now we use the levered betas to compute the unlevered betas. Okay, so that's why I explained that equation first. So if I click on this, you'll see that here I'm using that equation, the model that I just showed you, to compute the unlevered beta. Okay. I have all the unlevered betas here. So once I compute all the unlevered betas, I take in.
Tax was 35.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is not correct. I should have taken an average here. Yeah, so I'll correct that. So basically, this should be an average. Yeah, not.
So your tax rate is 40%?
Yeah, I just took 40%. I just took 40%, but you can take 35, or if you can find your firm's real tax rate, you can do that. Yeah. Sorry, that's the average, not that I just pulled the equation down. So now what we are doing in the next column, in column P, and that's why I have the cash and marketable securities here, is I'm computing the unlevered beta corrected for cash. Because what is the beta for cash? What should the beta be for cash? How much risk does cash carry? If you have cash in your pocket, 0, right? So if the firm has cash, it lowers its beta. Get it? If the firm has cash, it lowers its beta. Okay? So which is why I make this correction for cash, unlevered beta corrected for cash. And this equation is your unlevered beta corrected for cash just goes like this. So beta unlevered corrected for cash, equals your unlevered beta, so beta unlevered divided by 1 minus cash over firm value. Minus cash over firm value. This is the equation. It's also there on the note page. Yeah, and also, if you click on the cell, the equation is there. So the beta unlevered corrected for cash is whatever the beta unlevered is divided by 1 minus the cash over firm value, which is why I have this cash and marketable securities column here. Okay, and this is exactly what I'm doing: computing the unlevered beta and then computing the unlevered beta corrected for cash. Okay? Once I have this, now I can compute the weighted average unlevered beta. By doing what? Simply taking each weight, this column, and multiplying it by this column. Okay? So this was giving me the weighted average unlevered beta. Okay? So let me move the cursor, you'll see. So here. P7 times L7. So L7 is the weight and P7 is the unlevered beta. Okay? So this way, you can, if you don't want to compute the weighted average, if you feel like it's mostly equally, all these market capitalizations are very close to each other and they contribute equally, you can take a simple average, but I personally always like to take a weighted average. Okay? So, but if you feel like, because you see, if you look at the weights here, my weights are quite a bit different, right? This one is much smaller, it's only 1.372% as opposed to this one, right? So, but say for you, you have 10 companies that are, contributing approximately equally, you can simply, once you do this column, you can simply take an average of this column, okay? Personally, I never like doing that, okay? So I always like to take a weighted average. And it's not that hard, right? It's just like one more column on Excel. Okay? So once you take the weighted average, now we can take the sum. Okay? So this becomes the weighted average unlevered beta. Once we take the sum, this becomes the weighted average unlevered beta. Okay? Now we compute the levered beta. So if we go back here. So levered beta from Micron, this is the unlevered, weighted average unlevered beta from here, from this column. From here, 1.30, oh, I just rounded that off to 1, or Excel is rounding it to 1.33. We have Micron's debt equity ratio, the current debt equity ratio. I just took the tax rate as 40%, and we calculate the levered beta. So this becomes Micron's levered beta, 1.52, using the bottom-up method. And like I was explaining earlier, this levered beta that you obtain, and you can see, you can compare, when you compare the levered beta that you obtain by running the regression with the levered beta that you obtain by with the bottom-up method, you'll see that they're different. Okay? How different, I cannot really tell, but your levered, the bottom-up beta is always has much lower errors than your regression beta. Yeah.
So why the 40% for the tax rate? Was it because the other
Oh,
companies had 40 or?
Yeah, no, you can, I was just being lazy. Yeah, 35 to 40%, okay, so I just took like 40%.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can take whatever, no, for the other for every company, just take whatever their tax rate is. Or you can do a 35%, okay? Or you can do a flat 35% for all, okay? Because for some companies I've seen it's hard to find their effective tax rate because the MTR is 35 to 38%, right? The MTR is 35 to 38% flat, correct, for everybody. What differs is the effective tax rate.
Which is probably less.
Much less,
Okay.
for sure, much less, okay? So if you're going with the MTR, go with 35 or 38% for everybody. But if you're going to look for the effective tax rate, then don't put the MTR for one company and then use effective tax rate for another company. Don't mix and match. You see what I mean? Don't mix and match. So if you want to go, if you think that you can't find the effective tax rate for all 10 companies, just go with the MTR for all of them, okay? Either 35, 38%. You can take, whatever, 35 or 38. But if you can't find the effective tax rate for all the firms, then take the effective tax rate. But we discussed that, right? That if you're taking the effective tax rate, you're taking into account, right, whatever, you're basically incorporating whatever fact, why the company's paying those lower taxes, you're just incorporating that for your future calculations, right? You're saying that whatever the company is doing, it will continue to do so it continues to pay the lower taxes. Okay, yeah.
What's a good source to find like all the same type of, I guess, undiversified company?
Oh, good question. So what you can do is you can go and the way I do it, I just go and look at, there are websites available where they group the companies like Yahoo, Morningstar, Zacks, Zacks.com. They list companies within an industry, okay? And if you can't find it, let me know and I'll send you a list. Okay, so I have a comprehensive list, okay, of companies within an industry. So if you can find companies within your industry, just send me your industry name, and I'll send you all the companies that I have in my database. Okay, and you can pick from there. Okay, you can pick from there. Yeah.
Should we, as a group, use the same companies or do different companies?
No, different. Very excellent question. I was actually coming to that. Yeah. So I get this question all the time that should you pick the same companies? You can have some that are similar, okay, but try to keep some that are different. Okay, so you can have, like, say, for example, you have 10 companies, so you can have 5 that are, that you can mix and match, and 5 different ones would be good. Okay? But it's not an absolute necessity. As long as you have, like, about 10 companies there, you should be pretty okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
This was just a question about, I guess, maybe I wasn't listening, but why is the unlevered beta for the 10 companies, why do you use that for your company?
Because that's how we are doing the bottom-up beta.
Okay.
Right? Because if you're doing it for your company, then you're just using that one company.
Okay.
But when you're using the unlevered beta for the 10 companies, remember the errors get spread over 10 different companies. Like when I do it, I use many more. I use like 20 companies at least. So the more you use, the more those errors are reduced.
But why do you not put your company in with the other 10?
No, because we are trying to compute that company's, my company's, we are trying to compute my company's beta using industry comparables.
Okay.
Right? Because these are my comparables. Okay, so I'm using my comparables to compute the beta for my company. Okay, so I can't include my company in that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else? So, yeah.
So the reason you take out for the cash firm value, the cash and the firm value on the bottom up for different tax that you do over here, which is very small. It's not much.
It's very small. Yeah.
That correction